welcome back to Fiscal Voyage. I'm Felix, and we're going to talk about some Bitcoin price action, especially after the FOMC meeting. You can see here the Fed keeps rate unchanged for fifth straight meeting, but actually three members wanted a hike, so that's interesting. So you can see here the Federal Reserve held its key interest rate at 3.5 to 3.75% for the fifth straight meeting today. And it was widely expected to keep the rates the same, and that affected the market. It was starting red, and then when the Fed started the announcement, you can see here it ended up with a big red bar here on the daily here. You can see on the shorter time frame, it started red here. There's a SPY, and then at 2 o'clock right here, we had a bounce, went higher to the previous day high, and then back down. So this is why the market is down. QQQ, you can see here the daily on the SPY, QQQ here down, and IWM, the small cap, down. It's actually not pretty good looking because you can see here on the daily close under the 50 moving average, so that's not good here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow if it bounces. Sometimes you get a fake out, and we get a nice green bar tomorrow. So we'll see what happens if it continuation down. Because over here you can see the weekly right at the 13 EMA. But anyway, let's talk about Bitcoin price action. But first off, I want to cover the Bitcoin long-term power law. Because here it's been very consistent. If you follow my channel, you see I talk about this a lot. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video and study Bitcoin, and we'll get more into that. But I asked Grok from X, or also known as Twitter, previously known as Twitter, what does it believe that Bitcoin follows the power law? And then it says, yes, I believe Bitcoin very likely follows the power law, and it's one of the most clarable and long-term models for BTC price behavior. And this is a little brief summary of what exactly is the power law. The power law, popularized by Giovanni Santos Tastis and others, suggests that Bitcoin price over time follows a consistent mathematical curve on a log scale rather than random cycles. It basically says Bitcoin's price grows as a power function of time with diminishing but still very strong returns as it matters. A key point is it has tracked Bitcoin price remarkably well since 2009, and we've seen that, and I cover that very well. You can see here in 2015, 16, price very nicely. 2019, COVID, 2020. The FTX crash in 2022, 2023, and now. And you can see here, as well as the peak, it got over here, the peak here in 2013, the end of 2013, and as well as 2018, or at the end of 2017. But you can see here how it followed very nicely. And right now, if we zoom in, currently, it's following the power law. It did peekaboo under it, but we'll see what happens to the coming few months. But anyway, the model implies a fair value corridor that BTC has rarely broken for long, and it's true. It explains why early massive gains 100x slowed down to still impressive but more reasonable multiples of 3 to 10x over time. My view as Grok, I find that power law one of the strongest framework for understanding Bitcoin's long-term trajectory for these reasons. Strength, it fits 15 plus years of data extremely well. It aligns with network adoption laws, Metcalfe's law plus adoption S-curve. It currently predicted that 2021-2022 bear market bottom will stay above the long-term trend line. It gives a relatively stable fair value that grows over time, currently in the 50K to 100K zone, rising steadily. Limitation, being honest, is not perfect during short-term mania or panic phases. Cycles still cause big deviation above and below the line. It doesn't predict exact tops and bottoms. Black swan events, regulation, major hacks, global crisis can temporarily break the trend. And it's kind of like what happened here. It temporarily broke this trend, this support here. And as well as if we go back here, even the high over here, you can see I kind of broke it here. Maybe for a few weeks here, stood above the power law. So this is just a range. It's still very valid. Power law implementations for 200K Bitcoin. According to the most version of the power law, Bitcoin should reach 200 grand, somewhere between 2027 and 2029, with a medium around late 2027 to 2028. So the end of 2027, maybe Q1 or Q2 of 2028, we should see 200 grand Bitcoin. This model sees 1 million plus as a reasonable in early to mid 2030s. So like I said, study Bitcoin and understand it. This line is very well with my cycle basis estimate I gave you earlier. Bottom line, yes, I believe the power law is real and useful. It doesn't mean Bitcoin goes up in a straight line, but it suggests it's a circular uptrend in extreme strong, and that 200K and beyond is not just possible, but probable in the coming years as adoption continues. So you can see here, this is why Bitcoin is energy and it follows the network effect. So this is why I'm telling you guys to study Bitcoin and to fully understand what it is, understand networks, and understand the importance of Bitcoin. So we're gonna go look at the price chart here for the Bitcoin price. So FOMC, today here you can see we kind of have a doji. So we have some good and bad news here based on the price action. The good news is we do have kind of like a bull flag right here. You can see here. So that's a bull flag. We just now need to close above this, break this, and then break this resistance zones that I talked about previously in the video. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. The bad news is you can see here on the 21 EMA on the daily. So let's make this bigger. The 21, you can see here how it was. Let's do this here. How it was support here, support here, support here, support here, and kind of support here. But now we broke it, and now the 21. You see how we close under. Now it becomes resistance here. So that's something to look up after. That's kind of why I say it's kind of like good and bad. The good, we got this bull flag right here, and now the 50 moving average on the daily is acting like support here. So hopefully this strong, there's a bigger moving average 50 compared to the 21 and the 13. So hopefully the 50 acts as a strong support to get it back over the 13 and the 21 and over this bull flag and get over this resistance zone. So that's kind of like what I'm looking at right now. So, but if we do close under this 50 EMA, we get a red bar close under it. Maybe the next 2 days we'll see what happens. Then we have this support here, 61.30. That's what will be the next support area. If it closes about under that, then we're gonna head back to the lows of 57,800. So we'll see what happens. Another thing I want to point out on the weekly is this here. This actually turned green for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but recently. So that's very positive news. You can see here I turned green here, and we had a nice, a few weeks of, or maybe like a month and a half of uptrend, but then we turned red right about here, and then we turned green now again. So this looks very promising. It looks like possibly that could be the low right here, as we're in the 200 moving average on the weekly. Like I said before, we need to get a weekly close above this red line, so that, because this was support, now it becomes resistance. You can see here how it was support here, and now we're resistance here and resistance here. So this is why I'm saying we need to get a weekly close above that, but then we have to work against the 13 EMA and the 21 EMA. But definitely a good start if we get a weekly close above this and we break this trend line here. So we'll see what happens. But the good news is we do have a green weekly MACD green that turned, and you can see the last time it kind of did that was let's see here, it was, I think it was this time period here. You can see here how it was green here, but then it turned red, and then we've got the green, right? But this time the difference is that this one wasn't near the weekly 200. And you can see here, this is also a very nice kind of like a ascending wedge here, or descending wedge. You can see here it broke and then crashed down and boom, right into that weekly. So that looks very positive for this time, because we got the weekly, we're here at the weekly, and this turns green. So that looks very good, very good, very good. And the monthly, one thing I want to talk about is the Fibonacci. So everything's like lining up perfectly here. As you can see here in the monthly to the high, you can see the Fibonacci is right here. You can see it here at 57,132, and it basically got right there. That Fibonacci of 0.618, kind of like the buy zone area for Fibonacci. So this area, all area right here is the buy zone, buy zone, buy zone, buy zone. So that looks very, very good. So it's like a lot of technical things converging all at once. So I like that a lot, and this is why I'm buying a lot of Bitcoin right now. So make sure you guys study Bitcoins, understand Bitcoin. Why is it important? Why is it even worth 63 grand a coin? Why did it get to 123 grand a coin? And why are countries buying or adopting it? Or especially the US, they're holding it, right? Why are they holding Bitcoin? You need to understand that. And once you do, then you become a Bitcoiner and start buying it, and kind of like just focusing on Bitcoin and studying more and more and more, understanding Bitcoin and understanding money. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe button and like that video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.